This conference will now be recorded.
Tell me how to do it.
You're just saying like that when people come on.
You have your microphone coming out?
We just turned on the
Talk to Chris and Rick and Jessica. Good. Yes. Did she have good news? Yes. Yeah. She didn't really have any news, but she didn't have any bad news. That's a good thing. Yeah. She made it sound like it'll be pretty soon. She did send me an email like a week ago or whatever. Good. Everyone ready? Okay. Thank you all for coming. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a healthy agenda this evening. We'll start with some routine, ordinary town business, and then go into the public hearing on local law 2. We'll start with announcements and reports from the board. Hannah or Darren, would you like to go first? Either one of you are welcome.
I honestly don't think I have anything to report. So.
Okay. Same something.
Okay.
Skip around.
Okay.
From the library, I have some announcements. The library wishes to thank the Hungry Trail for hosting Feed Your Need to Read on May 20th. The Kids Artwork Expo on Saturday, June 6th, at 13 young artists contribute art that will be on display through the month of June. The library would like to also thank the A&W for donation of free ice cream cones for all of the participants. There will be a Friends Food and Plant Sale on Saturday, June 13th at 10 a.m. Lots of great food and plants. And the library will be closed on Friday, June 19th in the observance of Juneteenth. And the Wilmington Historical Society had a great turnout on Friday, June 5th, with 20 plus participants for the gravestone cleaning and restoration class hosted by the Cemetery Revival. It was a very productive day and a lot of progress was made on getting some needed cleaning done on many of the headstones, with much more work to continue to be done in the future. The same goes for stone repair and reset on Saturday, June 6th. From 8 to 4, led by Gravestone Guardians Incorporated with Cemetery Revival. There were 20 plus participants for that class, with much needed work getting done by all of the participants. This work is very much appreciated, and I'll try to keep everyone informed when the work will continue. So a lot did get accomplished in the 2 days of.
You were there, right?
Yeah. It was quite a learning experience, really. And it was actually fun. That's all I have.
We were there today doing some realignment. I saw them.
Yeah.
I have a couple things. The Board of Assessment review was done. It was much less attended than last year, so that's all done. I visited Eddie down at the reservoir, and if you want to hand this out, I'm sure Darren knows exactly what happens with that, but that's for you guys. And if you want to hand this around, that's what he did and the beginning and after. So they were cleaning, he was cleaning up the reservoir on June 1st, and then today he buttoned it up. They're doing the work. They're doing the work that was set aside for last year, fixing the cement and the fencing along the edge of the reservoir. So that's being buttoned up. And then once that is cured, then he'll refill the water reservoir, and it looks great. I put some pictures and some descriptions in there. The flower garden has the fence up that was approved. They did a great job. It looks fantastic. Tim and I met with Louie this past week, discussed some things, and then we had 3 more interviews for summer staff, and those went well. I did just circle around and talk to, how we did the petition to the public service for the NICEAG pricing issues that people are having. I did talk to Troy Tremblay, and he gave me some good explanations, and I looked at my bills since 2025, and then the highest one, and then this month, and some of the costs have actually gone down. What he said is that when they have a spike, because everything is driven by natural gas, water, or wind, that's where the electricity is produced, and if you have a peak meter, on peak, off peak, or day or night, as the term goes, those meters during those peak times, or when the draw is high, then your bill will be paying the true market value of that electricity, whereas somebody who has a meter that is not peak or day or night, it is pulling for it's like a budget plan for your electricity. So they buy the energy involved, and then you get it at a straight rate. So if you notice that your bill is higher, it's probably because you were drawing a lot of electricity during the peak day or night time. Or that there is just such a draw that they have to bill higher because there's so much need at that moment. But so he said if you're on a peak day or night meter, that they can switch you. It costs nothing to switch you to a straight meter read, but you have to stay on that read for a year, and then you can switch back to peak for surge, peak for off-peak pricing. So, but he said currently, right now, the people who are on peak or off-peak pricing are having a lower rate than the true market value. So it's very weird. It's like a lottery. You're rolling the dice here. So, you're going to pay for your electricity one way or the other, but they are a supplier of energy. They are not the trader of the energy. So we wanted to make that clear. And he said this was a really, really tough winter, and obviously people who had peak or off-peak meters, if they were utilizing it during that time, they had a heck of a bill because of that reason. But as we know with everything, it's not going to go down, but I did want to touch base that I talked to them. So I think that's it.
Thanks.
There's information here if anybody wants to explain your electric bill. You can pass that out. He sent me that, so you can just around. There's, I don't know, like 10 copies. If anybody wants to know how your electric bill works.
We've extended the deadline to sign up for the summer youth program. The deadline has now been pushed back to June 14th. Currently, 15 children are signed up. If you need more information, there's a flyer posted to the bulletin board in the entryway, and all of the board members' email addresses are on a sheet on the table in the back. So you can definitely get a hold of any of us, and you can get a hold of me, and I'll put you in the right direction. We did meet with the Department of Health. They did an inspection of the youth center building in the park. Went fine. All updates have been finished. Of course, thanks to the Parks, Buildings and Grounds Department for their help with that. We have, for the swim lessons, we've reached capacity, which is good. If you want to sign up for the waiting list, again, just email me. And if you've already signed up, if you've already signed your kids up, please return the paperwork and the payment. And if you change your mind, please let us know that as well. At the last meeting, we had a good discussion of speeding on Springfield Road. And, I think the whole board's aware that it's a problem, and not just a problem on Springfield Road. So I did talk to Jim Dugan from the county's Department of Public Works. He's been excellent to deal with over the past 5 months. And he said the first thing to do is to do a speed study where they put electronic devices that track the speed of every car over the course of a week. And, we'll see how fast people are going. And, we'll see the top speed and we'll see the average speed. It will provide a good amount of data. We did do this a couple of years ago for Bonneview Road, and the numbers were very high. The top speed was obviously insanely high, and the average speed was also quite high. Randy has asked since the start of the year for us to address the speeding on Hardy Road, and so Jim Dugan has agreed to do that as well. We'll do the speeding study there as well. I asked him to put the measuring devices on Springfield Road basically on the straightaway where you can pass.
Right.
That would be the best place to get those measurements. I didn't give him a place to put them on Hardy.
Right. I don't know if speeding on Hardy Road is really an issue,
Okay.
but the speed limit on Hardy Road is my really issue. I think it's too high for the amount of traffic and the amount of people on bikes and walk their dogs or whatever they do. 45 for that crooked road is just too high of a speed limit. But they're more than welcome to put a
Do the study.
going.
I bet that if I were to tell him we just want the speed lowered, he would say that this is still the first step. It is a town road, but we can't just vote to do it, or we would have voted to do it. It has to go through the usual bureaucratic process, which is not fast. I have received the signs for Greg Lynch Park and over here. I've been in touch with his family, and as far as the dedication and how that will go, it's up to his family. I'm up for doing it kind of in whatever manner they would like, as far as making it an event or a celebration, or just doing it with no public comment. There's no commemoration. It's totally up to them. So if there is an event marking the dedication of the park, obviously we will publicize that. Circle back, we discussed this at our last meeting, I believe, but as far as the beach opening date, I'm not sure. This is on the agenda from several days ago when I thought we would be able to open earlier than we'd expected, and now, of course, things have changed again, and now it's back to the end of June. But I just want to, let's say if we can open, let's say a week from now or 10 days from now, I just want to bring that up to the board and more or less get the board's approval on that. If, as of now, our expected opening date, I believe, is June 25th. And I'm not sure how much more it will fluctuate, but I just want to discuss that. Does anyone have any thoughts? Or
That's where it's been every year, and part of one of the issues with that is we have a permit from the Department of Health for opening dates of the beach.
Okay.
that's listed in there. So if we change and we vary outside of those dates, then we have to go back to the Department of Health to change those dates.
I believe, I could be wrong, I believe that we extended the dates beyond what we thought it would be, so that we had the option, if we wanted the option. I believe, but I will double check on that. And if we can open earlier, and if our permitting will permit it, I'll just email them. We can, because I believe in no previous year has this been decided by resolution, or this has been in a formal way. This has been always decided in an informal way. I am well aware of the influence and passion of the pickleball lobby, and we have been asked to allow members of the pickleball voting block to add pickleball lines to the tennis court. Again, I don't think that this would require any kind of formal action, but before I just tell them, okay, I want the board to. According to them, it's still marked for tennis.
Yeah, so he just has to rewind that.
Correct.
They were there.
The pickleballers?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the lines were there. Then he
Oh,
field
okay.
coded it. He's gonna reline them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It was in the quote from Don.
Okay. Well, the pickleball lobby will be pleased. There is a hazardous household waste. There are two events in this region, July 18th and the 25th. There's a flyer, and I'll post this on the bulletin board as well. Sponsored by the county. There's a training that the youth program staff are supposed to attend. It's June 30th. I just want to basically get the board's informal approval to pay them for that time. Does anyone oppose that? It's only 2.5 hours on June 30th. Okay. Want to mention with the code enforcement report, which we always get. Thank you, Doug, for the reports. We do have, as most people know, we've set a cap of STR permits at 150. Currently, we've issued 143. There are 3 incomplete applications on the waiting list, and this is more or less how it's been. This number has never created a problem. People haven't been on the waiting list for more than a month or 2 since this cap was set.
That's not necessarily true.
That's not completely
In
accurate.
the beginning of it, people had to wait. Now, there's a.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And as far as the fees, that seems like, I guess that's right on track with where we would expect to be. Yes. Yeah. I did get some questions about the Climate Smart Communities pledge that we passed. And so I've looked into it a little more. And, you know, although it's called a pledge, it's more of an aspirational thing. It's very similar to the pro-housing community pledge that we passed in maybe 2024, I believe. It doesn't obligate the town to do anything. I checked with the county planning office as well as supervisor of a neighboring town, just to make sure that A, we won't be forced to do anything, and B, we won't be penalized for not doing it if we don't take certain actions. And they both were very clear that we will not be forced or penalized. So, unfortunately, we also will not receive extra points on our grant application. The purpose of passing these things, the reason we passed this is it will help on our grant application, or that was our understanding. It won't help, just passing it, we won't receive points on our comprehensive plan grant application. We'll have to appoint a climate smart, I think like liaison or leader We'll have to create an advisory board. There's a large rubric of actions that we can take. And each action are points, and then once you get to a certain number of points, you reach a certain status. And if you reach that status, then you get points on your grant application. So it is plausible. I haven't, I will read this whole rubric, which is not short or sweet. It is plausible, and I think the hope is that there are things on this list that we've already done. But I happen to see in the Saranac Lake Stewards of all places an advertisement for their climate advisory board. So they're doing the same thing. Like as the supervisor of a neighboring town told me, he said, "You have to play the game," And as another county official told me, "Don't expect any of it to make sense." So yeah, I was asking about the pro-housing resolution that we passed, because that too, it sounds nice and it makes people feel good, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't require anything. It just is aspirational. And the response was, don't expect it to make sense. I said, okay. Well, thus concludes my report. Now, we have to just do this. Again, this is just routine for the passage of a local law. People who saw us pass the last local law, or the second to last local law, which reminds me, the numbers, if you've been really following this, you've seen these numbers fluctuate. That's because the local law we passed related to the assessor's salaries, there's a 45-day window that we have to wait before we can submit that to the state. Because there's a 45-day period during which, if there's anyone passionately opposed to raising the assessor's salaries, they can circulate a petition and put it on the ballot in November. They have 45 days to do that. So that law will not become official until that 45-day window, until we're outside of that 45-day window. So it's uncertain what is going to be local law 2, 3, or 4, because it depends on how quickly we pass any of these things. Getting back to the main point, this is just a pro forma thing where we have actually done it. We filled out the forms, we've read the forms and answered them honestly, and we found that local law 2, if adopted, will not have a significant adverse environmental impact in the town. So this is just something we have to do for these types of laws. So I'll make that motion to approve this, or approve the negative determination. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. The next is very similar. Well, it's just labeling the town as the lead agency for purposes of State Environmental Quality Review Act analysis. So would anyone like to make this motion on this resolution?
Make it.
I'll second it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Before we get to the public hearing, I'm going to open the floor to the board to say anything the board would like to say before we resume the public hearing. Would any members of the board like to say anything?
We did get some feedback. It's kind of going in a circle. Nothing that was said is anything that we haven't taken into consideration, and I think this law is as good as we can get it. I think it appeases a lot of different points of view, also advocating for new housing, also, looking at the quality of Wilmington's housing as a whole. And I really feel like this is months and months and months of work. I think it is.
Other thoughts? We've been working on it since March. I did meet with I met with someone whose entire job is regional economic development. People who are in the building trades can correct me. You may know better. What he told me is that the current estimate to build a house in the traditional way in this region is $300 a square foot, and he said that he thinks that's probably on the low, very low. So a 1,400 square foot house, if his information is correct, that's $420,000. It's more than $400,000 to build a pretty small house, 1,400 square feet. Whereas, this information we have from the manufactured housing outlet in Plattsburgh, this house, the very bare bones basic model is $133,000. So that's a stark difference. And why are we doing this? We're doing this to spur housing. We do believe that this will make housing more accessible and attainable to people in the area. Laura explicitly ran on this 3 years ago. Like I reread her campaign statement, and it was in black and white. She didn't beat around the bush. It was not opaque. She said this is what she wanted to do. She's brought this up to the last town board. The planning board asked it to do this, and in my opinion, the members of the planning board didn't agree on what they were voting on. Some of them thought they were voting on one thing, others may have thought they were voting on something else. But, because I've watched the video of this planning board meeting, they recommended, Pat was one of the people who recommended, just treating manufactured homes as traditional homes. Right now they're much more regulated under our current code than traditional homes are. And the recommendation was to treat them the same. So that was the first version of this law we brought forth. We heard from the public that not overwhelming enthusiasm for that version of this law. So we've made a very good faith effort to find a middle ground. And currently manufactured housing is limited to 3-acre lots. Rather than just treating it the same as traditional housing, we've gone to 1 acre. We've also prohibited them from being used as vacation rentals, because that was another thing we heard from the public, is that this will not help housing for locals. This will just help second homeowners have inexpensive places and business opportunities in Wilmington. It won't help the local people who are trying to live here. And we've also required site plan review for manufactured housing throughout the town, which again, traditional housing, that is not required. So I really do think we've made a good faith effort to respond to what we've heard from the public, while still fulfilling our mandate from the planning board and what Laura campaigned on. And I will open it up to the public. Doug has something specific he'd like to address. And this is, when we talk about how much time we put into this, we've gone back and forth about this one word multiple times, three or four times probably at this point. So before the last meeting, Doug came to me about this one word, and he wants to change back to what it was in a previous draft of this. So Doug, please discuss what you'd like to discuss.
Okay, if you're going to change the 3-acre minimum for manufactured housing to 1 acre, you should also include in the verbiage that in hamlet and moderate zones, you can only have 1 per lot, not per acre. If you have a moderate zone that has 18 acres, it doesn't allow you to have 18 manufactured homes on it. So if you have per lot, it limits it to 1.
Excellent idea.
I agree, because this law will supersede the existing regulation of accessory dwelling.
Well, it shouldn't. The accessory dwelling should be the same outside of the change you're going to make for hamlet and moderate. That if they have an accessory dwelling and they have a manufactured home, it has to be stick-built, not.
I'm saying if they have a traditional home, and then we go down to 1 per acre, you could put, as you said, 18 on one lot. And currently, you could only put 1 because as defined as an accessory dwelling unit. No?
We're talking to.
Okay.
Wouldn't they have to subdivide the lot in order to put more than one dwelling and an accessory
Not
dwelling?
if you say per acre,
That's right.
as opposed to per lot.
Does any member of the board have any thoughts about that?
I think it should be per lot, not per acre. I mean, I don't think anybody really wants somebody would say 18 acres to put 18 modular homes or manufactured homes on every acre that they own. I don't think that is the
It
purpose
goes
of
against the
this.
code in a lot of ways.
I just don't think it's the purpose of the whole thing here.
Some of the discussion, how that got brought back and forth, if you remember, was places like the wilderness with the cabins that are there currently.
Yep.
Across the road where there used to be cabins.
Yep.
Your grandparents.
Yep.
Places like that where there was a higher dwelling rate than what's currently zoned, and we had discussion about, basically if we continue to go down that road, places like that can never exist again. And we weren't sure whether that was something that we wanted to take away from families that have been used to that for years. McCombie's, for example, I mean, she had it, they did away with it. Maybe the kids in the future decide to put back the 4 cabins like were there originally. I'm not positive it's allowed now, but definitely under the new code, if we do it that way, it would never be allowed again.
Not without variance.
Correct.
It wouldn't be allowed currently because it would be, you can have 1 accessory dwelling unit per lot currently. Have you had requests from people? You've had this job for 10 years, 6 years? Okay. Have you had requests to put an additional accessory dwelling unit on a lot?
Only very recently because of the state changing their view on the ADUs. But nobody's biting it. No town, no county. So nobody's moving on it.
Not from residents either? No one's asking if they can put an extra cabin on their property?
No, it doesn't really come up.
I do think that would be a relative, I think that our zoning board would be inclined to grant that variance if it's a family who wants to put an additional cabin.
And especially if it's a low intensity or above.
Okay, any other member of the board? So I'll open the floor to the public. Please just raise your hand and I'll call on you. Just to remind people who may not have attended these before.
Yeah, good night.
Thanks, Doug. Just to remind people who may not have attended these before, at this point, this is not a dialogue between the board and the public. This is just for the board to hear what the public has to say. So, Cliff, please.
One thing I have that seems to be missing is something in there that says that these will be for a full-time resident.
Yep.
So anybody from anywhere can come and say, I want a ski house for a quarter of the price of what they're going to build for. So that's one thing I have, which I think is crazy. It's what we're trying to do here. To me, this should be tabled until something like that is happening. I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you. Paula, please.
I'll reiterate, I think that we open the door for somebody to come in and have a seasonal home, as opposed to, if you're really doing this, or to me, year-round residency, probably should have some type of a stipulation, similar to like we have for hitting for an STR. You take the bill, we're putting something in, something up.
David, please.
Along the same lines, has the town looked into whether it can legally extend deed restriction? Something along the lines of any new home built between now and January 1st, 2030 is required to be owner occupied for the first 115 years of the town. I think that's a legal deed restriction, but I'm not 100% sure. I think that would satisfy the concern of we want families living in full time.
Thank you. Chris.
One other thought, has anybody come to the number of houses that this is actually going to provide? I guess that's more of a question, something to think about. Do you think there'd be, by doing this is gonna create 20 houses, 25, whatever it may be? I think that's probably pretty.
Tony.
I think that accessory dwelling units should be listed in there as far as a prohibited item.
Okay. You want to expound on that?
Yeah, so if you had a 3-acre lot for a manufactured home on there, and then you want to file for a accessory dwelling unit, you can throw another manufactured home on it. So, I think that- We all have to go through the planning board and special use permit approvals and anything. You get board denial, and you have zoning variance. So that could go through with that. So if it's there, then it can't be done.
David.
Super housing. Has the board ever thought about the idea, so one of the traditional problems with housing is finding people that have deep pockets that are willing to invest, buy the land, do their architectural plans, get builders and get it off the ground. Has the board ever thought about going out and looking for and hiring a business broker? And you can use that in terms of restaurants and businesses, but specifically, it can be used for purposes of using a broker to find either local investors or, let's say, investors from the Capital District area who have deep pockets, who have built homes in the past, and who have the finances and the resources and the knowledge to come up, make bids, buy lots, and start building. So a business broker will have, for lack of a better phrase, a stable of investors that we don't have.
Okay, anything about the water district?
I was hoping you would bring it up.
So I would say along the water district, and then the manufactured homes can be 1 acre within the water district, if they can tap off the town water. But if there's a well and a septic involved on the lot, then it has to be a lot bigger than 2 acre. They have to at least go up to 2 for the coverage between the footage between the septic tank and the well, because of the board of health and so forth. So that, again, we'll go through planning. So I don't know if we're going to throw it into a resolution or to an amendment or whatever it is. That's what we discussed. Some of us discussed.
I don't know if everyone else heard you. I could barely hear you. You want to repeat what you said? Or?
Yeah, as far as the water district.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So within the water district, if you do a 1 acre lot, because you're tied onto town water. If you don't have that option, then you have to go with a well and a septic. You have to have at least 2 acres because you have to be so many feet away from well and a septic with contamination. So again, that's all driven through special use permit and board of health. I mean, the plan to board zoning, if it has to go that way.
Yeah.
Question and answer is comments, so I'll put it in the form of comment. Curious about the status of the reporting property.
Thank you. Give it a few more seconds. I suppose we should close the public hearing. I don't think it, I mean, we can leave it open, we can continue and leave it open. Or we can close it. Those are the two options. Seems to me that we should close it. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at this time. Is there a second? Okay. Any other members of the public have anything to say before we close the public hearing? Thank you to everyone who has commented and who has sent in letters. We did read your letters. We read every letter. I read every letter. George, please.
I'm just curious, going back to the New York Department of Smart Communities. I understand that it's the arbitrary to decide which is something not. What I would just like to know is, does the town or the board have any something broken on the resolution?
Thank you. Thanks. Maybe I should have mentioned at the start that I just want to keep this on topic. This local law related to manufactured housing. But we will have time for public comments at the end. Thank you. Discussion among the board about closing the public hearing. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Now I think we'll have some discussion among the board, and maybe we'll have some dialogue between the board and the public. I'll open the floor to the other members of the board first. Like to say anything about local law 2, please.
So, a few things. I do agree with Cliff and Paula. It's like, if we're doing this to try to help full-time residents, if it's legal, we should try to keep it to full-time residents, because if not, this law could provide negative impacts on Wilmington and not so many positive impacts, because the whole point of it is to provide housing for full-time, and it could end up opening the floodgates for part-time second homeowners in a cheap way to be able to get into Wilmington. I think it was mentioned a meeting or two ago about a comprehensive plan, and the whole point of a comprehensive plan is to decide where Wilmington's going in the next 50 years. Well, we don't know where Wilmington's going in the next 50 years because we don't have a comprehensive plan. So to make a change this significant to our code to completely revamp what's going in certain places before we have a comprehensive plan in place seems a bit premature. I have a developer that has done some stuff in Wilmington that I have been in discussion with. He would love to do another homestead housing style development here in Wilmington. That being said, when the last thing he did here in Wilmington, he said he was put through the ringer, and he's not even positive he wants to invest any money in Wilmington. I think Wilmington needs to spend some time going to these developers and try to target and develop certain areas of town rather than just opening it up to everywhere to try to get some affordable housing. The last thing I'm going to say is, although I believe that this law is the best version of what we've had for 2026, I won't be voting in favor of it. 10 years ago, basically 15 years ago, when Randy proposed the law to basically not include manufactured housing in the center of Wilmington and keep it on the outskirts to 3 acres or more, I voted in favor of that. So I feel if I changed my thought now, then I shouldn't have voted in favor of it for 3 years ago or 10 years ago. So I'm going to stick to what I believe, and I thought it was a good thing for Wilmington and keeping Wilmington headed in a positive direction then. And I don't think that this is going to have the positive impacts that people are hoping it's going to have in Wilmington.
Other thoughts?
I thought the whole purpose of this really was for local people. I mean, I'm all for giving the locals a chance to get their foot in the door on owning a house or somewhere to live. And if we don't do something for the local people in years ahead, you're not going to have anybody to work in the hospital, the schools, for the town, for the fire department. We got to think of the people that live in this town, the young people. You can't just keep pushing this thing aside and everything. You got to come up with some housing for these people that want to live here and work here.
These are different. Regarding the full-time residency, this is an idea that we have heard. I'm not sure it's legal, as Darren suggests. I mean, my initial hunch is that would not be legal. However, if the rest of the board wants me to, I can definitely ask our land use attorney if that would be legal. I do know it's it's legal until someone challenges it in court and it's found to be invalid. Hague, New York had a law related to STRs where an house, someone who bought a house in the town couldn't use it as an STR within, let's say, 5 years of having purchased it. And I don't know if that has been taken to court. As far as I know, that law is still on the books. It may be a different analysis because STR is a business as opposed to just a residence. Not sure, but like I said, I'm certainly willing to ask our land use attorney if that would be. However, I don't know if we certainly don't want to prohibit houses in Wilmington to full-time residents. All new purchases to full-time residents. I think if we were to do that, we would be extremely criticized by some of the same people, and from a different direction. So, accessory dwelling unit, prohibiting from using them as an accessory dwelling unit. This goes back to Darren's thought, which was, if you're a family and there's the next generation of the family, this could be a good option for that family. And then for a lot of families, it may be the only option, Courting property, we will be talking about very soon this meeting. So you'll get a good update on that. Water district. Tony and I, basically, we looked at, so I have added this to the meeting room. These are the districts and the zones in the town of Wilmington. The water district, the hamlet is half acre or acre lots, and moderate intensity is acre lots. So, my question for Tony was, well, the larger lots that you're talking about, the places outside of the, where you would need town water, or where you wouldn't be on town water, you need a larger lot size anyway, because you're in the low intensity zone. I thought that all of the moderate intensity was in the zoning, was in the water district. There is a sliver of moderate intensity property that is not in the water district. I mean, I'm certainly willing to go to the 2 acre minimum outside of the water district. I have no issue with that.
I know that Doug touched on this, and he talked to you at one of the meetings. He said that it would be engineer dictated.
Yes, that's
Like
correct.
not, I mean, it could be an acre lot depending on the layout and where the septic is and where the well is and how the things are laid out and the setbacks from the other properties. You know, he said that it wouldn't even need to be something that we would put in there because it would all, I mean, if it's not allowed, then it's not allowed. But that would be engineer dictated, Department of Health dictated. I mean, I don't think we need to set it up for a 2 acre lot if they could put it on one.
Okay. But you know, if they come from the board and you have that issue, we brought up, as far as the land surveyor said to us that there's no way it's gonna happen on a land acre lot because of the distance of septic and well. So he recommended the 2 acres, so that's why we went with the 2 acres.
But I rewatched the video from Doug, what I said, right? Yeah. It would be engineer dictated, so based upon the layout. And I understand that they're probably whatever lot that person was referring to probably might not have had that, but I think Doug was pretty clear on that it could be depending on the layout. I just wanted to say that.
An acre of land doesn't necessarily mean a square piece of land. It could be 600 feet long by 100 feet wide or whatever. I mean, and from the planning board minutes of November 5th of 2025, it says, manufactured homes. The board recommends taking away the acre restriction, and if it has town water, then it should be zoned the same as a regular home. If it doesn't have town water, then base the acreage on the engineer's recommendation. So it really doesn't say anything about 2 acres or 3 acres or 1 acre.
It was all discussed, but apparently it wasn't down to the minutes, so we have to be a little bit more diligent and accurate with our minutes.
The video did not have that. I mean, it was discussed and then Doug stated what he stated, which was captured in the minutes. That was the code enforcement's recommendation.
What I don't understand, maybe hopefully you can explain it, is how is this different from a traditional house? Why would we have more restrictive based on the septic and the well for manufactured homes than we are for traditional homes?
No.
They're really considered the same. You have a different foundation.
Mhm.
It has to sit on a slab. It has to be bolted down, sheared. It still has to have today's standards of building. So it still falls within the envelope. There is a difference. Screening, location, lot size, again, along through special use permit, engineering. But if people don't know that, they just think they can come in because of this ordinance and do whatever they feel like until they come to us and then they say, well, wow, we didn't know that. Or we were misinformed. Whatever the case may be. We're trying to do what they want.
My question is, why would we do this 2 acre minimum lot for manufactured homes, but not for traditional homes?
Well, again, it depends upon a lot, how it's laid out, where the house is, where your septic is, because there has to be a certain distance between septic and well,
For any home.
or in any.
Yeah.
So that just follows.
I mean, I'm willing to, certainly, I mean, the local law is very clear that all manufactured homes will need to undergo site plan review. I'm willing to make it even more clear. I'm willing to highlight it even more than it already is.
As long as they know there's conditions and stipulations, then they're aware of it. The board and see what happens.
Yeah, I would put it in section 4, as the last sentence, probably in section 4. As far as waiting for the comprehensive plan, it's optimistic we'll have a new comprehensive plan 2 years from now. A new zoning code, again, it's probably maybe a little optimistic that we'll have that. At least, we'll definitely have it. It'll be at least a year after we have the comprehensive plan, I believe. And I'm pretty sure that a town's not going to do a comprehensive plan in much less than a year. It's a 2 year in much less than 2 years. It's a 2 year process. So, we're talking about, in the most optimistic scenario, 3 years from today. And I think that, as I've said before, when it doesn't affect you personally, it's a housing shortage. When it affects you personally, it's a housing crisis. And waiting 3 years to me, that is not acceptable. So as far as the path forward now, where would the board like to go as the path forward? Should we try? I mean, we can go ahead.
I think we take it all in,
Okay.
let it settle for a minute. We have to make Doug's change.
It's already made.
Is it?
I guess the question for the board is, do you want me to investigate? Do you want me to ask our land use attorney if it's legal to require full-time residency?
I like that
Okay.
idea. At least inquire.
Okay.
Checking to see if it's legal, but also, it would be also a matter of enforcing, and I think that
That's true.
is difficult to enforce how often people are in their homes. So, or to observe or,
Well,
monitor.
you can say that they have to, residency. If you declare residency, then by law, you're supposed to be there for 6 months. So if they're declaring residency, that's how they file it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that
At the
for,
very least, raise your hand. Because it just gets too crazy.
I get it.
is that for manufactured homes or is that for stick-built homes? I mean, why can't somebody come in town and build a stick-built home and not live in it year-round? But why can't they just come up when they want to come up or down? But
No, I think the idea is that it would only be for manufacturing. It is true that we're not doing this to spur the creation of inexpensive second homes. Or affordable second housing. Trying to create affordable first housing.
then I would agree with it.
There, please.
So the one issue that we have would be the wording, even if we did it as a full-time, and, the people that bring it up, I would love to see that. However, what defines full-time? So, let's just say Dan has a piece of property and he decides to put a manufactured home on it. Yes, we're saying that there's no STRs available, but we're not saying that it couldn't be a full-time rental. So people could still buy up lots, put trailers on them, and then we have all these, manufactured homes on them, and then have a bunch of manufactured home full-time rentals all over Wilmington. I don't think that's something that people necessarily want either.
From what I've been told, the rental shortage is the biggest problem, the lack of housing for renters. You know, I will say I am disappointed because I feel like we've tried really hard to listen and incorporate what you've asked us to do, what you've wanted to see in this law. I feel like we've met you more than halfway, and the fact that you're not going to vote for this is disappointing to say the least, because we've really gone along with much of this local law is your suggestions and your requests. So to hear at this point you're not going to vote for it is, I'm just saying it's disappointing. Okay, go ahead.
It's not just my request. I mean, there's a request that were made from the public. There's many people that came to me. There's many people that sided with things that I had to say. And the things that I'm still saying are, I've said from the start, I have never really agreed with this law. I don't think it's something that's needed. And I feel like, you know, a lot of times this stuff is, people are saying a little bit, you know, we have 20 people in the room tonight. Last time we had 20. What about the other 850 people in Wilmington? They must have an opinion one way or another. We're taking a small sample size. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they do care. Maybe they're not informed. Really, I don't know why more people aren't coming, but I don't feel that it was a needed change, and I feel a lot of times that these local laws are an agenda and they're being just pushed through because they can be pushed through. So I did water it down as much as possible because I know it's going to be pushed through either way eventually.
My impression when we first started talking about this was that this was something you were open to voting for. If we made changes, including going to a 1 acre minimum lot size. People can rewatch the video and see whether my impression was accurate or not. Further discussion from you.
I think it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to hit what everybody wants, but
Could you speak up? Please?
I think it's never going to be perfect. No one's ever going to agree on every single word that we have in here. But I mean, I can tell you firsthand, it's an issue that I've suffered from. So I think attempting to do something is better than nothing.
It's one thing when you have a house and you're all set, you're living in your house and everything. But there are people in this town that don't have a place to live. And I think we should care a little bit about those people. We don't all have to agree that we want a big mansion on the hill and everything, because not everybody's going to have that big mansion on the hill. But we do at least owe them that much to give them a chance to get their foot in the door.
You know, as far as we don't know how much housing this will create, you know, I don't think it's necessary to do a study. This will decrease the price. Again, if what this economic development expert told me is correct, this will decrease the price of an entry-level house in Wilmington by approximately $300,000. So I don't know how many more studies we need.
Also, the homestead housing, the company the land bank is looking into cross mods, which are manufactured homes. They are not modular homes, they are manufactured homes. If we are going to allow that as a stepping stone to get homes in the area, but we're not allowing that same courtesy to the regular residents of the town, that is ridiculous, in my opinion.
Go ahead.
I don't feel what you just said is accurate, Laura, because I wish Doug was here, because I feel like a cross mod with certain stipulations is already permitted in Wilmington. I don't believe that's accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, we did not get a clear answer to that question. Whether,
Because there's plenty of them in town.
Where?
There's a couple on Springfield.
Crossmod.
Or cross mod, the only difference between a cross mod and a modular is the floor joists. They still have to be on the foundation. They still don't have a wheels under them. They don't have a tongue on them.
Right?
Like, they have the HUD certification.
Yes, as any of these manufactured homes are. Same.
So what are you arguing about with me? That's what I just said.
No, I'm saying the manufactured homes that you're not in favor of allowing on any acre lot in town, we're going to allow cross mods, which are manufactured homes, which are not modular homes.
Well, I mean,
in
that's
the
one of the
town.
options. I mean, you guys are saying that there's no other options available, and there is options available already in Wilmington.
I mean, the disagreement, the disconnect here is whether these cross mods are more like modulars or more like manufactured homes, all of which are defined in our code. And as to whether they're more like manufactured homes or modular homes, we did not get a clear answer to that question.
One of the things that
They
was
they have some characteristics of each, and that's why they're called cross mods.
just changed in New York housing law to have them considered as modulars.
Well, I don't know why the land bank couldn't give us a clear answer to that question. Paula, please.
Just to clarify something, a land bank as opposed to a purchase of an acreage of property, with a land bank, isn't there a financial stipulation that the income has to be within a certain parameter to qualify to purchase or qualify to own a property in a land bank? My father-in-law was very active in the Habitat for Humanity. My husband, myself, volunteered time. There's a property up the street here that my father-in-law built and is still held in a land bank situation. So I think when we're looking at making affordable housing, if you can't make it a residency type of a thing, is there any way that you could put a fiscal cap in there? Like somebody from out of the area can't come in, and then you've got bidding wars on property. I mean, you want to make affordable housing for people in the area. If somebody's coming in from out of 12997 and they've got an undisclosed amount of money to spend, don't you think they're going to maybe offer the person that's selling the property more money than what they're asking for, and then they can put on a manufactured home?
Okay.
Isn't that something that could possibly happen? I mean, if you can't do a residency, maybe you should look at a financial cap. That you have to be within this financial cap. Is that something you could ask for attorney?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the answer to your first question is also yes. Please.
So not everybody that wants to stay here necessarily wants to be home. We have a lack of apartments. I mean, there's white facelift attendants, my employees at the store. I mean, I have a waiting list for the 5 long-term apartments I have. There's absolutely no incentive from the town, county, or state to be a long-term landlord. Most long-term landlords rent for 5 years, pay their mortgage, pay their bills, and now have to put another $10,000 into the place or more when that person moves out, just to make it habitable for the next one. Paint, flooring, all that. Why not? Why can't the town do some kind of incentive for these long-term landlords? Then maybe we get investors, like David's saying, from outside of the area to come in and do long-term housing. To me, that's a bigger answer.
Okay. Please.
Also, when Randy put this in effect, when it was originally done, he looked at a lot of the data, and basically the data suggested that you can obtain a 3-acre parcel of property on the outskirts of Wilmington cheaper than you can obtain a 1-acre property in the center of Wilmington. So he's like, if we're trying to put affordable housing in, the affordable lots are on the outskirts of Wilmington anyway, where 3-acre zoning already exists. So that was one of the reasons that it was not opened up to the center, because a 1-acre lot in the center of Wilmington is actually traditionally more expensive than a 3-acre lot outside of the center of Wilmington.
For the public, the pink area on that map is zoned for 1 acre. So that, I mean, it's not in the center of town, whether it's on the outskirts or not. It's not really on the outskirts either. It's kind of in the middle, but that is 1 acre zoning in that area. So I don't know what that analysis would have said about that area where it is 1 acre zoning.
But as you said, that's still considered the center of Wilmington because it's in the water district. Basically, you get out of the water district, the price of land goes dramatically down.
Okay. Any other thoughts from the board? I mean, I'm certainly willing to look into the fiscal cap as well. Or the income cap. Yeah, like I said, my hunch is that probably wouldn't fly legally, but I'm definitely willing to ask. As far as the town, like incentivizing long-term rentals, the way you would, maybe there's other ideas I haven't thought of, but the only idea I would think of is just thinking of this for the first time now really is in a fiscal way. Well, that has other negative down effects. We're trying hard to stay under the tax cap. So as Hannah said, no solution is ever perfect and is ever going to make everyone happy. And if we were to create that type of program, I am sure that there would be people criticizing that as well. So with that, unless any member of the board has any last comment, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Hearing none, this is just a discussion item, I believe. Well, depending on how the discussion goes, we can set a public hearing on this. If we're all more or less on the same page. So the last time we discussed this, we were all on the same page. And I probably should have set a public hearing for tonight, but I didn't. So are we all still on the same page? And if so, should we set a public hearing for the end of the month meeting?
Yeah, it's another unneeded law, but again, try to put as much impact on these unneeded laws as possible.
Okay, with that, would anyone like to make a motion to set a public hearing on this local law for our end of the month meeting, at the start of the end of the month meeting?
We'll make it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I've given a lot of thought as to whether I want to come down from the 25 acre number. I was thinking I would like to come down, and now I'm kind of back to thinking 25 is okay. Laura gave us a very good visual representation or mental representation of how big 25 acres is, and it's huge. At the same time, going to 25, it's currently at 50, so going to 25 is an enormous improvement in and of itself. So, as I've said all along, I'm definitely flexible on all of these numbers, and I'm okay with leaving it as it is, as it's currently written, pending the public hearing. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor for setting the public hearing for the Wednesday end of the month meeting?
Aye.
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 6 p.m.
Okay, great.
Yes, it'll start at 6. It'll be the first thing on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Aye for me.
Yes. Well, we should probably do a roll call vote because it's setting a public hearing, so that should probably be in a more formal. So it goes alphabetically.
Anna?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
Okay, the next agenda item. They have a motion on agenda item 6.
Make it.
Is there a second?
Second.
This is, well, now we're in discussion. So Dan, thank you for your question. And I had planned on discussing this at this point. It's moving forward. We've changed developers. I guess we've changed nonprofits. The nonprofit the town had been working with was called Adirondack Roots. We're now working with the Essex County Land Bank. We were told, the town was told that this would be finished by now. And, I think people could say it hasn't even started. So the Adirondack Roots they did the project in Keene, I think it's called Both Meadows. And that project literally took 20 years and totally unacceptable to me and unacceptable to the board as a whole. The land bank, you know, the county officials I've dealt with over the past 5 months have been impressive and good to work with. And the director of the land bank has been extremely impressive. And she came here, walked this property on her day off on a Saturday. So she's been here, the engineer has been here. Currently, this is with the APA. And we're hoping that this won't take too long because the APA has already approved it when we were going through this process with the Adirondack Roots. So but that's where it is currently. It's awaiting APA approval. After that, it will come to the Wilmington Planning Board and to be subdivided. And the goal is the hope and the expectation to subdivide it into 6 or 7 lots, 6 homes, and then 1 lot maintained by the town as parkland. I think, is there any additional discussion? Do you have any questions? Anyone have any questions about this? Yes.
Why you
Yes.
switched from one group to another?
Yes. Yes. Because the last group, we were told it was going to be finished, and nothing has happened. The town got a grant for over $1 million. Not only have we've lost the grant, and that's a black mark. That's a black eye for the town when the state is evaluating other grant applications. So another reason is the fact that they did this project in Keene that took 20 years, literally. And we met with both groups and they didn't seem embarrassed by that or sheepish, or they seemed like that was okay. Like that's normal. These things take a long time. I know these things can take a long time, but 20 years is, in my opinion, not acceptable. And if it does take 20 years, you should be embarrassed and have a plan so that the next time it happens in about 4 to 6, That's why. And the Essex County Land Bank is getting a lot done around the county. They're doing a 60-unit development in Ticonderoga. They're doing a home refurbishment. They buy properties at tax auction and refurbish them and sell them. They're doing I believe it's a pretty large, like significantly larger than this development in Keysville or Chesterfield, that kind of a similar situation where they were dealing with Adirondack Roots and just nothing was happening and the years were going on and they decided to go in a different direction. And it seems like I don't have that much information about the Chesterfield project, but from what I can tell, town supervisor of Chesterfield is very happy with how it's going. He came here with the land bank and met with us. You're welcome. Okay, go ahead. Tony.
Is this still homestead housing, affordable housing?
Yes.
Workforce housing?
Yes.
What's it going to be? And how's the breakdown of purchase? Or is it not a purchase item?
It's a great question. It's in the deed that the town received. It is deed restricted to 200% of the area median income. Purchaser has to be 200% deed. So, as far as going lower than that, I'm willing to go lower than that. We haven't had those discussions. But yes, it will be at least deed restricted in that way and quite possibly more. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Hannah?
No, I was gonna say, what are we voting on?
Yeah.
No one, okay, I apologize. I'll make this motion. Is there a second?
Of what?
I thought you guys already did
I
that.
thought we did that too.
You said naming a private road. Well, what are we naming it? Like, what are we
It's
making
in
a
the
resolution?
It's in the resolution.
Yeah, but shouldn't the public know and be on record if we're gonna put it in the minutes?
The title of the resolution is Courting Way. The name of the road is Courting Way. The resolutions we're discussing are available in the back of the room and they're posted on the town website. Unless there's any further discussion, it's appropriate to have a roll call vote at this time.
So did you make the motion?
I believe, well, you have the notes. Did we make a motion and second it? We did not.
Randy made a motion and Darren seconded when we started this.
Okay.
I guess I'm not taking good notes.
I got your back, I got your back. Pat.
Okay, Randy made the motion.
Thank you, Hannah.
Okay, Hannah,
Yes,
who seconded it?
Darren seconded.
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Yes,
Randy?
Yes.
motion carries.
Just maybe mention that this was a public meeting.
Okay, yes, we didn't do this at the last meeting. We've been asked to do this by the Land Bank and Essex County Emergency Services. This is just another step in this process. And I was waiting to talk to Paul and June Cording about what they would like the road named. So that's why we didn't pass it at our May end of the month meeting. So this is what they'd like the road named. So that's certainly acceptable to me, and fortunately it's acceptable to the whole board. The next agenda item is agenda item 7. May I have a motion on agenda item 7? Is there a second?
I'll second.
The title of this resolution is Allocation of 2025 Water Department Fund Balance. We're in discussion now, just to explain to the public. The town's general fund, the water department, and the highway department all had what we would think of as a budget surplus in 2025. In this line of work, you call it a fund balance. I think most people would think of it probably as a budget surplus. So to determine what to do with the 2025 fund balance for the water department, this is what our water superintendent, this is how he's recommended allocating these funds. And I have no issue or reservations with going with his recommendation. Is there additional discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote.
Can I just say the $15,188 is the work that's being done right now, which was pre-approved last year. So that is just wrapping that up so that it's not a future thing, it's happening right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes,
Laura,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Darren, you asked, similarly, the highway department, our highway superintendent has had a budget request for his. I didn't type this up today because I didn't expect this to be on the agenda. I thought we would discuss this the next meeting. We can discuss this the next meeting. We can also decide this today. Our highway superintendent has asked for the highway 2025 fund balance to be allocated $77,000 in essentially their savings account, $10,000 in their machinery fund, and $10,000 in their roads fund. So as I said, I'm willing to approve this today, and I'm also willing to wait until the next meeting. And I have no strong opinion whatsoever. I'm willing to do whatever the board, majority of the board would
Let's
like.
just approve it.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
okay. So Pat, I'll give this to you, and I'll also type up, we do this sometimes, I'll type this up and use the formal language,
Okay.
like I did with the water.
you made that motion.
Actually, I need
Darren
to-
seconded.
Okay, so.
I think you
I
actually
don't
had
think
it.
he was just discussing it and I don't think we
We were
made any.
discussing it.
For to discuss.
Is there, okay. We've made the motion in a second on the,
I don't think anybody seconded it yet.
Okay. I'll second it. Is there discussion? Okay, so this resolution is just to go with the highway superintendent's recommendation for the 2025 highway department fund balance. Roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes,
Laura,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Thank you, Pat, for substituting.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone noticed, but we have a different person taking notes this evening. No? You're too busy looking at the zoning map. Okay, the next agenda item 8, is there a motion on agenda item 8?
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? I'm certainly willing to hear from the board any comments or questions about any of this.
This is for the summer staff.
Yes. Yep.
How come, there's so much difference in pay for the lifeguards? Is
Okay.
it different in ages or something, or
No.
experience?
Yes, well, all of them, it is basically based on age and experience until the last one, who has a lot of experience, so much experience, in fact, that she doesn't want to make more than a certain amount and doesn't really want to be paid, period. She's kind of a substitute emergency lifeguard. She is doing the children's swim program. Legally, we do have to pay her. She would do it for free. So that's the difference on that. Additional discussion, but yes, so the head lifeguard's making 27, and then the person making 20 is a high school student. The others are college students. Yeah.
There's one person on this list that's, how are they going to be utilized, because they're at 3 different rates of pay?
Yes, this is the high school student. She applied to be a lifeguard. There is, for the counselors for the youth program, there are going to be a few days, I think there's 3 days during which they'll be unavailable. So I think we'll need other people to pitch in. She's a logical person to pitch in there. The same with the boat rentals. Generally, we only need one person doing boat rentals. There's a few days of summer. The beach attendant job, decades ago, it was beach attendant, where you rake the beach, clean the bathrooms, basically keep things tidy. The town has also added boat rentals to that, and kind of gone away from requiring these teenagers to do much more than that, but we're going back to requiring them to rake, etc., when they're not renting boats. So generally, we only need one beach attendant, except for the days when it's really busy, when it would be helpful to have 2. That's why she's on that list. That reminds me, our park superintendent, he had said previously that he wanted 1 teenager to work with him. He would now like 2, or whether he'd like it or he's willing to accommodate it. It was his idea. He brought it up to me. So I'm certainly willing to go along with it. Any further questions or discussions? Okay, hearing none, roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Aaron,
No.
Tim,
Yes,
Randy.
Yes.
this is the agenda item 9 is a discussion. It's just discussion, no resolution is expected. Laura has asked me to put this on the agenda. Would you like to lead this discussion?
So it's actually Hannah and I both. She's interested in seeing if the town would be interested in us, or in the board, pursuing putting a moratorium in for a battery storage facility similar to what Ticonderoga and Saranac Lake or Harrietstown are looking into having in their area. And then I was interested in seeing if the town or the board would be interested in putting a moratorium in for a data center. And I realize these are far-fetched and these are large things that probably would not be APA approved, but as anyone who has an ear on anything in the news, that things are going through without any checks and balances. So something that we could look into, and I just wanted to feel the room out, feel the town, and see if that was something that anybody would be interested, rather than us doing a ton of research and bringing up things that nobody's interested in. We just wanted to check the pulse.
If I can just add, I actually do think there was a proposed battery storage facility in Saranac Lake.
There is, that's it, yeah.
So it's not totally far-fetched to think that it might happen in the area. And this is something that a number of municipalities in the region are either considering or already taken action on. And I just want to add, the moratorium doesn't necessarily eliminate this possibility for us entirely. It just gives the town time to make sure that all our ducks are in a row if we want to consider this in the future.
And when I talked to Troy Tremblay, I touched on the topic with him. And if we choose to, I'm not going to take up time tonight. I have information from him about the data center. If anybody wants us to pursue it, I'll bring a full proposal. So, board.
Additional thoughts?
I'm for a moratorium on both, actually.
I don't have an issue with it.
I'm the outlier here. I fully support moratorium on data center, battery storage. We need them. My understanding is we need, I mean, not Wilmington, but the country needs them. You know, this is all technical and I could be wrong. I'm not a scientist. My understanding is the country needs these. If we're going to rely on, if we're going to have renewable energy, we need these to store the renewable energy. This is, that's my understanding. So I think that, you know, I think it's important. And I think that the risk of a fire is low. And finally, I also think that if there was one to apply in Wilmington, we would have time in between the time their application comes forward and the time their application is approved to enact a moratorium if the board felt it was urgent. All that said, I know that there is certainly a public appetite for this. There's a lot of public, well, yeah, I guess there's a lot of public support for these types of moratoriums. We've discussed them at the Board of Supervisors at least twice, maybe 3 times. It's a kind of an ongoing, frequent discussion. You know, what I have been told by authoritative people who I believe do know is that if the state decides that they want one of these in a community, then it's going to be there. You know, our planning board will be overridden. I'm just putting this forward for the community and for the board's information. All that's, you know, I'm not remotely passionate about this either way. That's why I'm not bringing this up. So.
The issue with the issue with the battery storage is potential soil contamination. So that's an issue on the table. The data centers, I've read that other communities are prohibiting them, if you will, is for 2 reasons. It's very taxing on the energy and the grid, which increases the electricity for everybody in the surrounding area. And it's the same with the water. They apparently use a significant amount of water, which likewise can increase the water bills for everyone in the surrounding area.
I think the board is unanimous in support of a moratorium on data centers in Wilmington, which I do think is far-fetched, but, you know.
Nonetheless.
Correct. Unexpected things happen every day. So, but yeah, I agree for the reasons you say, David. Tony, please.
So didn't we have a square footage limitation because of the dollar store thing and all that?
Retail.
Retail, stuff retail only? Can't be introduced for a data center? Because we know they're big.
The other thing that I just want to mention that I was reminded of by the Board of Supervisors is that you can't enact a moratorium and have it be good indefinitely. You have to, they're finite. I believe that they're legally, they expire after 6 months. You can renew them for another 6 months, and then I think that's it. So if we want to do it, maybe we should wait till we actually get the application. But
I agree with Laura. I think the moratorium is important. It's a lot easier to stay ahead of something like this. I'm following along for the day. I don't personally.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about the fact that if we do it, that's our one bite of the apple?
Doesn't this just buy us time like we had talked about on a dollar store to get it time to get it in the actual code?
Good point. That's a good point. Good discussion. So I think the board is in support of this, and there is a model local law. I believe I gave you Ticonderoga's, so which I'm sure did not originate in Ticonderoga, I suspect. So we can bring that forward for the next meeting. Okay, the next agenda item 10. May I have a motion on agenda item 10?
Amazing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. Discussion. We approved a very similar memorandum of understanding a month ago. The owners of the J Community News asked me to change special notices to routine notices, and they asked me to add the sentence that they reserve the right to edit all submissions prior to publication, which I had no issue with adding. I thought that we should probably just, since it has changed, we should probably approve it again. Is there additional discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Okay, agenda item 11. May I have a motion on agenda item 11?
Take it.
Is there a second? What? Yeah, it's the comprehensive plan
Okay, thank you.
grant application. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Randy. Discussion, again, we have approved something that was almost identical. The Department of State released this grant application within the past couple of weeks. And last year, the members of the comprehensive plan working group have been working on this grant application. Because generally they're similar year after year. It has changed in one way. They asked us to approve this at either the last meeting or the meeting before. Previously, this grant required a 10% local match. That's changed to 25%. So we need to approve this again. I will say that, my goal has always been, Willsboro spent $40,000 updating their comprehensive plan. My goal has always been for this process to be community-driven, not consultant-driven. I've been told by the director of the county's planning agency, you can get pretty far just within your community. These, the surveys are a big part of it. I think that the surveys are generally pretty similar. If we were to look at Essex's survey and Willsboro's survey and Blacksburg's survey, I think we could probably come up with a very nice survey for Wilmington. Jay's survey. So I really would like us to get as far as we can possibly get prior to hiring these consultants because they are very expensive. The minimum grant amount is $75,000, but if you don't spend the entire grant amount, you can refund it. You don't need to spend. You're not obligated to spend. So the less we spend of the grant, should we get it, the less the town's match requirement is.
Cool.
There's one other thing I wanted to mention. That's all I have, I suppose. Well, yes, I remember. Okay. It's also not certain that we'll get this grant. So that's another reason for, we lost 2 years with nothing done. There was a lot of discussion in the, I guess it would have been 2023 election of we need to update the comprehensive plan. Instead of doing anything, the administration just waited for a grant. So I'm really not in favor of waiting for a grant because it's not guaranteed that we'll get a grant. Because our last application was not successful. There's no guarantee that this one will be either. So is there further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Randy.
Yes.
Do you want to lead this next discussion item? It's employee handbook.
Oh, sure. Okay. So this has been on and off the agenda since April. Him and I have gone back and forth with this. He wants to have a special meeting. I am begging the board to send me your edits in email or paper form, so we don't have to have a special meeting, and just send me what edits you would like from the version that I gave you in March. I have, Darren, your comments from previous meeting that you mentioned in public. But anything that anybody would like to have edited, if you would like to have a special meeting to discuss in person, I don't feel like it's something that we should be discussing in person until we have it a consensus as far as like, because I've talked to the town employees, submitted it to the board members. If you have a need to talk about the edits to the handbook in public, you're welcome to. I just don't think that we should spend our town board meetings doing it. So it's up to the board members.
Does anyone have an issue with, if there are edits you would like to make in the handbook, either emailing them to Laura or discussing them with her in person or via on the phone, etc.? Does anyone have an issue with going forward that way? And then hopefully we can, I would expect that if we do go that route, we can pass this at the end of the month meeting. Does anyone have an issue going forward that way?
I tend to agree with you on this one, Tim. I think I've said this from the start when these were originally made, or the short-term rental laws. We sat here as a group. We went page by page. Is there any issues with this page? We flipped page by page. We discussed it. We made the changes. We moved on. Everybody was happy and it was passed. I feel like a lot of things are going to be left out if we don't dedicate it. This is what work sessions used to be for, to do things like this. We no longer have work sessions, but that's what we used to do. And if it's a special meeting that we call and we have the agenda set as town employee handbook, I don't think you're going to have 40 people showing up because they know we're going to be talking about the handbook. They're going to be like, I don't need to hear about that. So I don't really think it's going to be a huge public input meeting.
I do, I do agree with you. Laura and I have been going back and forth about this since what February? Because, if we're going to discuss this at a public meeting, which I am fine with, every month there are things that we have a long agenda every month, and this just keeps getting put on the back burner. That's why I've been saying we need to have a special meeting to do it if we're going to go this route. Because I believe that by the, at this point, the agenda at our end of the month meeting is pretty open. But at this point, the agenda is always pretty open.
We'll do it. Great.
And I'll put it on the agenda now, yeah. That's what it is.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that there will be other things that
We'll
are,
prioritize it. Call it a day.
you want to do it at the,
Let's do it.
when?
End of the month.
At a regular end of the month meeting?
Yep.
No, because it'll take like 2 hours to go page by page. So that's why we haven't discussed it at any meeting yet. So when we need to have a special meeting, and I'll make a motion to have a special meeting on the Tuesday before the end of the month meeting. Or we can do it via email. I'm fine going forward either way.
I thought we already did the email thing.
No, nobody got back. You did. You were good.
That's all I got.
Randy,
Moving right along.
Well, it's fine to do an email thing, but there's things that I emailed you. There's things that was discussed. Where does that leave us? We've never made any recommendation or
you
like.
said you wanted to touch on these things, and I asked you to send me what, and you said you'd discuss it at the meeting, and I have not heard anything from you other than.
Because I don't believe that email is the right way.
Perfect. Let's do it at the meeting.
Or I don't need your attitude. We're having a discussion here.
I'm explaining.
Like-
where-
I don't
Okay, so
understand.
I'm making a motion to have this meeting, special meeting about the handbook, the last Tuesday of the month.
But I don't understand why I have to do a special meeting. Why can't we just? do it
Because
at the
there's
month
no
meeting?
way,
It's gonna take 86 hours.
Well, that's how long the meetings take anyway.
well, that's the thing. We'll have an equal amount of things to get to. Maybe not an equal amount of things, but we'll have we'll have a number of things to get to. Every day, every meeting day, employees contact me and ask me to add things to the agenda. You know, there will be things that probably members of the board want added. There will be things that I realize we need to discuss. These agendas have been long all year, and I think it's unrealistic to expect that the agenda for the end of the month meeting will be short.
What time?
6. Would you prefer a different time?
What do
You
want?
prefer 5?
5.
Is there a second on that motion?
What is the date now?
7, 16th, 16th.
23rd.
Sure. I thought I was talking the week before.
I thought he said the day
The
before.
last Tuesday of the month.
Then, yeah, ignore what I said.
The last Tuesday of the month is the 30th. The day before our work session is
Oh.
the 23rd.
The 23rd.
There's an election here on the 23rd, isn't there?
Thank you, Cliff. On the 30th.
I won't be in town.
And the handbook waits again.
The problem with emailing, if I can finish what I was trying to say before, is if I send an email, how can we discuss it as a board? Because now it's going to Laura, and when are we going to discuss if we're going to change it or not to change it? That's the problem with an email.
As I said originally, you send me the edits, I make the edits, I resubmit the handbook to the board, and the board reviews it. I have highlighted any changes that I've made in the handbook, in the version that you have. We can discuss, we can talk.
Laura, that's great, but if you don't agree with my edit, then why would you edit the book? Maybe the rest of the board don't agree with my edit.
Then it's up for a group discussion.
But what are we going to do? Edit it 18 times?
I've
Because we
edited
just,
it how many
that's the
times?
point. If we do it and we discuss it in person, there won't be 18 edits.
We need to think of a day for a special meeting.
25th, which is the day after the town board meeting.
Was there court? That's why we need more space in the town hall. I don't know if there's court or not.
Where is the, hang on. First, second, and fourth Thursday, except for holidays. Okay, so that is.
There is court on the 25th.
That would be,
About a week from today.
so back to the 16th.
Why don't we just do it the way things used to be done? And we're going to, if it takes us 2 work sessions, it takes us 2 or end of the month meeting, we'll donate or dedicate an hour towards it. We get us through as much as we can. The next meeting, we get through another hour of it and dedicate as much as we can. Like,
But at this point, that seems like the best course of action. It's plausible that there won't be much on the agenda for the end of the month meeting. So we'll see. And if there is, then great. Maybe we can get it done.
So it's gonna be 6:30 at 5 PM?
We're just going to put it on the agenda for the regular end of the month
Okay,
meeting.
6 PM.
Yep.
No special meeting. It's on the 24th.
Anything else?
Did you skip agenda 12?
I did. Thank you, Pat. Good.
On purpose?
No,
Okay.
no. Thank you very much. I'll make this motion to approve the expenses and transfers. Is there a second?
Second, third.
Okay, all in favor? Or we should do a roll call. It's spending money, so you need to do a roll call vote.
Hannah,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Karen,
yes.
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 Public comments. Slowly.
I've noticed that we've had, it seems like a lot of black flags.
Okay.
Wondering about BTI application. It's my understanding that normally it's paid for, in multiple payments. And in prior years, people that have treated the stream that's close to our property have stopped in. They've noticed that we've got an acreage. Just to remind us that the application of DPI is not harmful to bees. They've also noticed that we've had pets. They've talked about, it's not harmful to the dogs. I know that in years past, the town also sent out letters for property owners that the DTI application has to be done on their property, and they have to have access to their property. I've been busy, so I don't recall this year seeing anybody there. Little stream that's across the way. I stopped in and talked to Nicole today. She reached out to the company that services our area, and apparently they talked about there's been excessive larvae this year. But I'm wondering if it's time to start looking at maybe a checks and balance when they're here in the area. Either they sign in or maybe somebody just tag along for a little bit to see exactly what the situation is.
BTI oversight.
Sure. Whatever you want to term it. It's just a
I
suggestion.
think it's a good idea. Thank you. Carol,
The timber issue, that's going to be discussed at the end of the month meeting.
that is the public hearing. If you would like to make a comment, that's fine.
You want us to discuss it now? The timber
It
thing?
says public comment. If you have a comment, you can.
Well, I was thinking that, in fact, what we're doing with the, I think actually that the checklist is a good idea, the timber checklist that what the planning board recommended was a way to control the deforestation, and that the 3-acre limit that we placed should be across zones. Mostly because we want to avoid exactly what we were talking about before, which would be now that people have the opportunity to afford building a house, that we're setting ourselves up for sprawl, which is what we don't want to do. Right? While we want the housing, certainly we would rather see, there's no reason to say that somebody needs, where is it exactly? That we change it for the hamlet or whatever. That if you want to clear cut or you want to deforest under 3 acres, it's fine. But if you do more, then you have to go through the timber checklist, no matter where you are.
I think that we could adopt this checklist outside of the local law process.
I think Essex has already. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And it does mean that, in fact, we have an arborist who's, going to be doing oversight, and that we avoid this situation where somebody gets an arborist in, the arborist makes recommendations, and then they get ignored.
Did you see that one?
Yes. Yep, I did.
And I'm very concerned about this idea of the sprawl. And then, of course, if we're going to do this, it's really ridiculous to not have a fine, to not increase the fine.
I agree, and that's next on my agenda as far as local laws. And actually, the planning board can make recommendations about that, and you are on the planning board. You did, okay,
We did.
good.
As we did with the whole, acreage thing. That was on page 16. We tried to, of the zoning code, as I recall, it was an attempt to nip in the butt the issue of the typo.
Mhm.
Right? Remember the typo was 50 acres, and then we just said, well, actually, this is 50 acres is way too big anyway. Let's bring it on down, and that was. I mean, if we had had somebody in the minutes of the planning board meeting, it would all be there, but I've sent you guys what we discussed and agreed upon at the planning board. can send it again if you want.
I'll go through my email.
I just want to make sure that, you're seeing that, we've separated forestry from land clearing.
Right.
Right.
And the definition.
Right.
And those were, that was a recommendation from the guidebook that was sent for the, I can't remember what it's called anymore. The New York guide, forestry guide.
So how would you like to see us change this document?
You know what, unfortunately, I had my notes with me and I think I left them at home. That's what I was looking for before.
Well, send them to me via email or else we'll have a special meeting.
What's that?
Send them to me via email.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, I'll definitely just I'll resend the email. Okay?
Yep.
It's there, it's really good, it's really clear. Page 16 addressed and then the fine addressed.
I don't think we'll change the fine structure as part of this law.
Right.
I think that's a separate thing
It's
because,
separate.
yes, because that applies throughout the code, not just to breaking this,
Right, right.
violating this part of the code.
Because one of the things is that, I mean, really, anyone who's cutting is going to be taking into account how much money they're gonna get for all this lumber, so what the hell, we'll pay the fine.
For any violation of the code, right, if they know what they're doing. And the fines are, I agree that they're low. So
They're like a joke.
I was trying to be more politically correct. Additional comments, rarely.
Can you update on the cell tower?
I have no update on the cell tower.
Weren't they supposed to start this month?
I have,
They said they were.
I saw some red flags in that old road where it's going, if that means anything. That was new to me.
At the planning board, I don't think Doug had an update. It was mentioned at the planning board. Yep.
thank you. Yes. I can look into it. I will try to ask Doug.
We didn't know.
Well, I know, but he could maybe tell me who I could ask. George,
Back to the, I know that the New York State Climate Smart Communities Program proposal was passed. I think that it would be appropriate for the town to know if there's any intent to move forward and then the next step on that agenda.
thank you. Thanks. Well, we got to finish the handbook first. I would say no. I mean, the question is, how much of these have we done already, if any? I mean, another question is, if we're going to create a climate smart task force, which is mandatory, do we have people who would want to be on it? Do we have someone who would volunteer to be the climate smart coordinator? That's also mandatory. So to really answer your question accurately, I would need to really review these actions that would give us points towards achieving a status that would give us points on our grant application, which I've skimmed these at most. So I have no plans to devote time to this. If other members of the board want to devote time to it, I'm not against it by any means. But it's not on my agenda. Is the most honest answer.
I fully agree with that, but then I don't understand why we had this proposal.
Okay, good question, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to answer it. In life, you can't fact check everyone every time someone tells you something. You have to, when certain people tell you things, you have to be able to take what they tell you as valid information. I don't think anyone can go through life fact checking everything they're ever told. We were told by people who are very invested in the comprehensive plan process that we needed to pass this resolution, and the resolution would give us additional points on the application just by passing the resolution. They were not correct. So I did not fact check them. They are people who have invested a ton of time in comprehensive plans and our comprehensive plan. So I think it was reasonable to believe that they were correct, but what they told me was not correct.
So does that mean the resolution that you passed for that is null and void?
It's not, no, because like I said, if a member of the board wants to take this ball forward, the two things that are mandatory are creating a climate smart task force and naming a climate smart coordinator. Those are not things that they're not even on my agenda, let alone high on my agenda. If another member of the board wants to take this ball and push it forward, then, I think perfectly acceptable to me, or even a member of the community. But, I think it's unlikely that someone's going to be beating down my door to be named the climate smart coordinator in order to organize the climate smart task force. But, we haven't discussed this whatsoever. So I'm definitely willing to hear from the rest of the board if anyone is interested in creating a climate smart task force and leading that effort. Those would be the first two things they're mandatory actions. The rest of the list is optional.
That's comment, let sleeping dogs lie.
What's that?
My last comment would be let sleeping dogs lie.
You don't want to be the climate smart coordinator?
That's an
Okay.
So unfortunate, but yeah.
If someone does want to, like I said, it will get us points on our grant applications. But I can't do that. I can't push that forward. Someone else will have to take the lead on that. Hearing no further public comments, I'll make a motion to go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
No.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Carries. Employment, well, I've said it via email.
It needs to be on record for the minutes.
Okay, personnel.
Is she near?
Thank you all for coming. Thanks, Charlie.
No, he's not.
Thanks for coming, Seal. See you Thursday. You want to chair our climate smart task force? Probably go because it's on.
Randy has them. Yeah, we had,
Right.
we said it was $11.10.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
How are you? It's not that we have, they're all waiting for it.
Okay, well, that's fine.
But I had read.
Yeah, those come in.
What is that? What's going on?
There's gonna be an awful lot of
You have,
personnel.
I know. Between now and then, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I have a question. When we are online, if we raise our hand for questions during the public forum,
Yes.
I had my hand, that's why I drove down here, because I had my hand up. He looked at the screen while my hand was up and said, okay, we're gonna close our account. I think that we need to figure out. I had more than 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so
something
I
to
don't
go
know
through.
if we need to have Dawn, like, move the other side so that she can watch it.
Yeah, because I did have my hand up at home.
Because I can't see it. I didn't notice it.
I know, I try and look back periodically.
I do it,
check on
if
it,
I
Thank
recognize them, but after that, of course, them.
So you can.
But if I'm sitting there, I don't
See it in
see
the
everything.
book, you know.
Oh, no,
There should be,
well, I try and look back periodically.
There should be,
I just didn't know if it was something that during.
there should be an audible thing.
Well, I think the problem is that there's no one's used to using it, so there's not actually.
Did you start to
Like when I do my board meetings, it keeps going.
Yeah.
Because I'm the executive assistant to the board, when I do
You're
my board meetings, I have it and I'm checking it at all times and I say, so-and-so has a hand up.
So, yeah, maybe we should figure out
Yeah.
like periodically or whatever.
Because there's a lot of people, I guess, that showed up
Yeah.
by, right.
Yeah.
And if it's never done, it would be better to sit over there.
Oh, she shut it off on me. I felt very old there and she turned it on. No, I didn't know, what my question was,
Okay.
they started discussing the thing about the manufactured homes.
Right.
And my.
You never got to ask it?
No.
Why not do a public comment? They had already closed.
They
the
had,
conversation.
he had
They
already said he was
closed
closing the conversation.
Right. Right.
And that's why I thought, well, there's other stuff I'm gonna drive down there, because if I wanna ask questions, they're not gonna pay attention to me.
So what was the question?
So my question was, with those,
I put it in the notes.
you don't have to put it in the notes, that's not, I'm asking you to, as part of the planning board.
Yeah.
When there is something like that, how is it submitted? Like, say the manufactured homes, okay?
I'm buying a manufactured home. I want it on my acre lot, right? And so, and you're asking, how do I?
No, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm saying is when we want to change a law that has to do with planning or zoning, okay? When we want to change the law in the way that it's written,
Right.
do we meet with the board, have a conversation, say we would like to present this to you, that these are the changes that
We already did that.
you did?
We did, yeah, you were part of that. Yeah, the manufactured housing. Yeah, we had that conversation. No, it was before you. It was actually before the timber conversation. Right, we, at the planning board, we had the conversation about allowing for the manufactured homes, shifting away from and encompassing tiny homes and changing the size of the tiny home lots and the size of the tiny homes, what they had to be. And there was discussion. Jerry Boucher disagreed with us about. Right.
So that was my question, is it something that?
Yeah,
that
no,
we're giving them the verbiage and saying, this is how we would
Exactly.
like this to read.
And that was
It's
exactly,
not something that they're writing up on their own,
Right.
saying,
No.
we're gonna
and
change
that's
this,
that's what I
this
was
is
saying
this.
to Tim. I said, I already sent you exactly what we had already discussed for what we wanted with the timber, rules.
Yeah.
And it was ignored, and Mindy didn't include
She
it in the
didn't
minutes.
write it in the minutes. She had to write, that's when we first started.
Right. I mean, that was so frustrated.
There, I mean, Frank Schischler sat right there and said, it could be an acre lot, but it doesn't have to be. That if, based on the lot, you'd have to do a variance if it was too close. It depends on what their next door neighbor, if their next door neighbor had their septic here and the.
Right.
Yeah,
whatever
the
that was already
engineer says,
discussed.
yeah,
Right, right.
whatever.
Right,
And that's
right.
what
My
he said,
question is,
not
though,
what Tony said.
The
Right,
verbiage,
no,
when
no,
they're writing the
right.
law and changing what the law states, the wording of
It
this
usually
law.
works off of what the planning board has already submitted.
Okay.
Right, or that's how it should be, but I think that what's gone on is that, it's just like these shoddy minutes, they don't really get anything, and then they create.
Well, we started with 300 square feet for a tiny home. And then they went to 400, and then they said, why bother doing
No,
400?
actually, I said 400, that was the amount, because it had been, you could not, do anything
500.
smaller than 500 or 600, right? And I said, well, why not just, because tiny homes go at 400, let's just make it 400. And I thought that was reasonable, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, it was just like the amount of back and forth, they're just stalling it. They just really want to stall the affordable housing thing. That's what's going on. With Darren, the ongoing, at this point. This has been in the books. I mean, this has been on the table for so long. It's
Yeah, I mean,
frustrating.
Tim did make a lot of compromises, listening to what Darren wanted,
Mhm.
and then Darren's not gonna vote for it, you know?
I had no idea. I'm still bothered.
Yeah, I did, I had
Yeah,
my hand.
I would have been outraged.
I got pissed off.
Yeah.
And I shut it off and I got in my car and I said,
And then you still pick it up.
Right.
So.
No, I mean, I would have asked that during public comments. I feel like I made up.
well, that's why I asked
Behind my
Hannah
neck.
if it's, do you have to be present? When it's a public hearing, do you have to be present in this room to ask the question? Because I was on the screen and I had my hand up and
Right.
I was looked at multiple times. The screen was looked at with my hand up because I
Right.
sat there for quite some time.
When he
I
looks
put it
up,
up right when they went into the discussion.
when he looks up there, all he gets is,
What did it register?
initials. He
Where did
doesn't
it
get a
read?
picture of you.
No, but it says like our names up here
Uh-huh, yeah,
and it would have said my name and it would have shown a hand up.
okay.
For my
I've never
But,
seen
I
it,
mean,
so.
Right, that's what throws me off. It's like, I'm not gonna pretend like I look at that a lot. I looked at it a little bit, but I don't know that.
But somebody needs to, that needs to be a
If
job.
it's part of what
Right.
they are,
Saying it exists, then it should exist.
So we have to have
Right, right,
Mindy
right.
doing that too.
well, we don't do ours on,
Yeah, we do.
oh, we do?
Yeah, ours is all recorded. Yep. That's why Mindy
Well,
said,
somebody should be looking at it at all
right,
times then.
That's
but
exactly
if you notice, we never do. That's the thing, it's like, we're all engaged in this and we forget to look up
There's
there.
gotta be somebody whose job it is to do that, and that's this person. They should be sitting over there.
Yeah.
And, right,
She's not gonna like that either.
but it's a reason for having her over there, right?
How did you like that site plan thing that you got from,
It's still not what I
It's the
asked
same
for.
thing, it's the same thing.
It's not what I asked for, no. And why is it the gentleman from the Hungry Trout that's responding to everything and not the guy who submitted the application?
Yeah.
Actually, I think that we have, I wanted to, and I was really wondering if we could do this, is just tell the Hungry Trout guy right away, listen, Roger said this and this to us, and he did not follow through with what he said, so we are now.
May 18th. Because he wasn't, he wanted to open May.
He wanted to open up, he said he was definitely gonna have it open up for Memorial Day weekend.
He didn't.
He didn't, and we said that we had said among ourselves, we're gonna go check it out, so that we would know whether or not he was following through. And he hasn't followed through with a single thing. Why should we believe what he says now? He's already.
Property.
What?
Look at the health permit.
Really?
He wants it.
Oh, my God. What happened?
Oh, because that's where he's doing his cooking probably. That's where the food is delivered to. You
Oh.
are good, Stephanie.
No, I'm lost.
So what it matters.
I know.
I think that he's putting one over on the Hungry Trout guy. That's my problem.
Well, I think that they're all smooth operators.
I don't know, but I don't really know the Hungry Trout guy, do you?
No, I talked to him on the phone, he seemed nice. I talked to Roger and he doesn't seem nice to me.
No, the Hungry Trout guy, at least he's struck people who are locals, to be a nice guy. But that he's like, he can't keep up with it. He's working from like New Jersey or something. He's like,
He answered the phone when I called.
right. He has to drive up and down every weekend or something.
Okay,
I'm walking home.
bye Stephanie.
See ya.
Bye.
You want to ride home?
Actually, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Hi, Gary. I'm sitting, they're in executive session, so I'm sitting here with nothing to do. My granddaughter called and wants a ride home from school tomorrow. And that's in Lake Placid. I don't know if she's gonna come and spend the night with us or if I'm gonna have to take her to Saranac Lake. So could you come a little later? Oh, okay. Well, okay, and, do you have coverage there? What's your carrier? Is it Verizon or? Because there's a lot of places in Wilmington that doesn't have coverage. You wanna say like 5:30? Okay, okay, I'll see you tomorrow then. Okay. Yep, you too, bye-bye.
You're here all by yourself?
Yep, everybody abandoned.
They all abandoned.
So, 15.
All right, we're gonna pass local law.
I'll make a resolution to come out of executive session.
A second.
Okay, so Darren, motion, who's second that?
Hannah.
Oh, I brought this intentionally. Does anyone want to look at Essex County's employee handbook? Okay.
I'll find it online.
Nothing was decided, no action was taken.
Thank you, Pat, for doing this.
Yes, thank you, Pat. I'd like to make a motion thanking Pat. Is there a second? Unanimous second? Sir?
Can we just do this so I don't have to write it down?
Okay. That's how I'll thank you.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question? This is absolutely nothing against Pat, but is she, deputy town clerk now? Should we make that an appointment, or have we established, because she has to be paid at a rate of pay, have we established that, so we should do it at the same rate as planning board secretary? How do we want to handle that?
Wow,
Were you expecting to be paid?
no, it's not.
Well, she should be.
Then that creates a problem, maybe because she's a town employee on the planning board. She probably can't be a town employee.
That's what you wanted?
When I thought about it, it was the house.
I mean, I have no
Well, we
problem.
can let this time go, but I think we better have further discussion about it in the future, because,
That's right. I was mistaken.
Yeah,
I mean, because Nancy has done it in the past,
I did ask Nancy, and she doesn't want to do it.
right?
Yep.
But she
Yeah.
was a town employee, and
Yep.
I don't know if it's legally something that you're supposed to be paid for. I would think so.
Well, yeah, and we really should have a deputy town clerk.
So,
So, I guess we can advertise that job as well.
I do have a suggestion though.
Okay.
Stephanie was on there and she had her hand raised and nobody saw it. I think the secretary should be in charge of looking at that and saying somebody's got their hand up. Did she drove all the way down here to ask the question and she still didn't get to ask the question?
She did not raise her hand.
No, she didn't hear. She
I don't
said
think
it
she-
was
I don't
already
think she
closed.
meant
It was
she-
about the housing.
I don't think she meant that about this meeting. She was talking
Yes, she
about a
did.
previous meeting
Nope.
where she had her hand up.
This meeting.
I didn't see any.
No, because we would have seen it.
She had her hand up during
Talking
this
about how
meeting.
they ended the meeting. Because she said it to me too, previously, and no one acknowledged that her hand was up.
Just today, she said it.
Which that she told, my understanding when she talked to me was it was a previous meeting, she had her hand up, nobody acknowledged it. So she came to this meeting in person today because of that.
Well, at any rate, the secretary should sit over there so that they can see who's raising their hand so they can point it out.
Sounds like a planning board issue.
Place for it too, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not,
Her question was, how does the board arrive at details in the housing law?
okay,
No, I think that was from tonight.
through, did I not answer that? Maybe I didn't, I mean,
I
through,
answered it.
what's that?
I answered it for you.
Through discussing it at every meeting since March?
Yeah, and also the planning board gave you those figures about the, you changed them all, but that's where it initially started.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
Okay, wait, Tim?
Yep.
Motion,
We all
Unanimous
seconded.
second.
unanimous second.
Pretty sure Hannah jumped on that first though.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.